Welcome, viewers, to another episode of the Afro Gamer podcast, where we discuss everything gaming and esports in Africa. Today, we do have a wonderful guest with us, and we will be discussing the Global Esports Federation and African esports. With no time wasting, I'll allow my wonderful guests to go ahead and introduce themselves.
So shall I start? So, hi everyone. My name is Kelvin Tan, and I'm the director of esports in the Global Esports Federation. I spent about 2 decades of my life in esports. The first 10 years I spent as an athlete and a team owner, and the second 10 years I actually work in sports administration to help decision makers and government understand more about esports and also to reap the benefits that esports can give them. So I'm very happy to be here sharing my experience with everyone. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kelvin. And Shaya, on to you.
All right, thank you, Fe. And great to be here. My name is Shayo Owolabi, founder, CEO, Lagos Esports Forum. I don't have 20 years in esports like Kelvin,
Don't worry,
but
you get there. You get there.
I'm working towards it. I have
Yeah.
10 years background in sports media marketing, developing content for brands on radio, TV, and through events. Done esports unofficially for the last 3 years, but fully with COVID coming in, took it up, and we've been able to do a lot of things at the Lagos Esports Forum to build Nigerian and African esports ecosystem. Glad to be here.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Kelvin, for those who don't know what the Global Esports Federation is, can you kindly just, soft introduction so we know our viewers and listeners know what the Global Esports Federation is?
Right. Thanks. So very quickly, Global Esports Federation is a non-profit organization that was founded in December 16 last year. So we currently exist for about 11, 12 months now. And it's basically a very values-based organization that look at equality, fair play, diversity, for example, inclusion and innovation around esports, right? So we are ecosystem builder, and we try to promote credibility, legitimacy, and prestige of esports. And we see a lot of opportunity coming up for the entire esports region and also for the global industry. So we are here to service the esports community and to bring esports to the next level.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. And Shaya, from the African perspective, you are a member of the Global Esports Federation. How would you introduce that to the community in Africa? If they say, "Oh, okay, what is Global Esports Federation?"
I'd say it's an organization that loves Africa, and truly that's without mincing words. It's amazing that in such a short time they've been able to bring a few African organizations on board. I think as at the last time when we had the town hall, or like 7 organizations, and but beyond the number, let's look at the World Connected Series tournament happening. It's open to everyone in Sub-Saharan Africa, and the guys in North Africa still get to play with the MENA region. So, like I said, I'll tell anyone that wants to know that the GEF is an organization that does not just have inclusiveness in its bio, but is working the talk with all the programs that they have in place. So, yes, that's what I'll say. The GEF is all encompassing, and no region is left behind in the development of esports.
Okay, thank you, Shayo. You mentioned the love GF loves Africa, and we'll be coming to that, in a few minutes. And yeah, so let's go back to Kevin. The Global Esports Federation is a year or almost a year old. Can you walk us through, a crash course of everything that's happened in a year?
Right. So, very shortly in a year or in 11 months, we currently have 65 member federations registered with us. So that means 65 countries or territories have already joined us as members. We now have at least 100 partners strategic partners, commercial partners, global partners, and member federations that are we've just signed our last agreement a couple of days ago. And I think you saw that, right? You saw CR7's photo and everything. So so that actually marks our 106th or 107th partnership within a year. And also on top of that, we have currently working with at least a couple, more than 9 or 10 international federations to help them with their esports strategy. And we have also have just partner. Actually, this is a while ago with the UN organizations. I don't have the list with me now, but these are all strategic initiatives that we were trying to work with them to look at sustainable development goals. And these are things that we really care about. We want to be a values-based organization. There are some sustainable goals that we agree with the UN, and we want to make sure that GEF supports them and also follow in the guidelines provided by them. So all in all, we've done a lot of membership and partnerships over the last year. Um, Unfortunately, we wanted to plan on a world championship this year, but because of the pandemic, and we don't think that a proper competition should be run purely online, and that's why we planned for a community-based event like World Connected Series for the end of the year, because we want everybody to stay at home safe and play games, bond together. Hopefully next year, when the pandemic has a little bit more open up and everyone can travel a little bit, we could look at having a proper World Championship next year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited about the championship. Shayo,
Yeah.
you did mention the World Connected Series and the inclusion of not just Africa as a region, but North Africa had to participate with the MENA region, and Sub-Saharan Africa had to do on their own. In between the little conversations among stakeholders in Africa, there's that, I wouldn't say it's a complaint, but there's that discussion of, hey, Africa keeps getting excluded. And, just walk us through what the World Connected Series is for those who don't know.
All right, so the World Connected Series 2020 is a community event, like Kelvin mentioned, and it's community because we are looking at something that has everyone involved. You understand what community, and for us in Africa, community is a very strong word. Yes, I know the world over, but really in Africa, it's a strong word because they say that it takes a community to tutor a child. That's usually one of the proverbs being used around here. So the word community came as a strong word in setting up this tournament, and the idea was to have everyone give everyone something they can be part of. So our first
Yep.
strategy was to look at what everyone can easily access, and it was mobile. Interestingly, we at the Lagos Esports Forum had done a mobile game tournament twice, in August and in October. So it was more like an advanced level for us to activate this GEF tournament for the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa, and we looked for a title that also had an appeal to the gamers and in the community that was really eager to be involved, and that's why we chose the title of the Call of Duty Mobile, and opened up registrations last month. We just closed it, and the qualifiers have started for that one also. So that's the way it is.
Nice.
We had 84 entries from about 15 countries
Nice.
in Sub-Saharan Africa. And yes, thanks, Kelvin. And that was a huge number. So now we're proning down to the 32 that will make it to the final pool, and then we'll start the main tournament sometime in the upper week, leading into the celebration of the 1 year anniversary of GEF, the GEFCon, and the other activities to mark that celebration.
Okay, thank you for that, Shayo. So Kelvin, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The African continent is a unique region on its own, where a lot of international stakeholders have said, uh, the exclusion is for different reasons. Like, okay, you don't have as much as what the West has, and so on and so forth. But
mm,
looking at, you know, Global Esports Federation and WCS, there was no exclusion. Africa was brought into the fold immediately, which, you
yep.
know, it was excitement and more of a surprise. Like, oh wow, there's actually an entity that says global and actually includes Africa as a whole. So yeah, it's true. So I think the question now is, why was Africa included? I know why Africa was included, but I'm sure the listeners and the viewers will be wondering why, and what are the plans for the African region from Global Esports Federation.
Right. Thanks for the question. Before I start that, I want to congratulate Sayo on the massive number of signups for the World Connected Series. Congratulations for that. I'm sure the gamers gonna have fun. Uh, right. So our vision for the global esports federation is that we must be inclusive. We must consider all parts of the world, right? Whether or not Africa has enough gamers, or whether or not Africa has good gamers or very high do very well in esports rankings, that's really the secondary um, goal, right? If we include Africa, and of course the gamers will be exposed to higher level of competition, a bigger, larger stage, a more international stage. That's very important. Now, um, for in terms of technology, I think technology will always improve and get advanced, and technology will also be cost lower as we go, right? And that's why we are not worried about. We are very patient. We are not worried that Africa is behind the rest of the world or anything. I think Africa now already has a lot of technology, and gamers are already playing on mobile phones, which is probably the most portable and most common platform for the African gamers now. And as the technology advances, as technology costs lower, more gamers would join in, more gamers will try other platforms, or more people will have consoles and personal desktops for gaming. So it's a vision we see. um, when you start low, that means you can only go up, right? So that's not that's our vision, and we don't think that because Africa doesn't have the gamers, therefore we exclude that. Our that's not our objective at all, right?
Okay, thank you very much. Let's
Yeah.
just read a few comments. Anthony Joshua said some of the players are good enough. The ISP and lack of servers is a stumbling block.
Mm.
Quite true.
So I guess the connectivity is not as advanced, and that leads to game companies not willing to, or at this point in time, not willing to explore having a presence in terms of their game servers there. While we cannot promise that GEF is going to bring servers to Africa, we do have a commission that we just started not long ago that would invite all the game companies to be on board to be an advisory council to the GEF board. This is still being set up, and of course, discussions are still being had, and it might take a while to invite most of the esports game companies to come on board so that we can have the conversation, right? That doesn't mean that we will go and tell them, let's bring servers to Africa.
Service Africa.
Of course, we cannot promise
It's
that
almost
Promise,
because,
exactly.
yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like Kelvin knew I was going to make that appeal. So now he has debunked.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's even in the
Debunked
comment section also. So for all those watching and listening
yeah.
and asking for servers, Kelvin has
but
already addressed that.
the beauty for me is this, and
Mm,
I've discussed it with a couple of stakeholders in esports in Africa, is just like Kelvin mentioned, all competitions are not online.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
if we play ourselves online because we have the same level of connectivity, same challenges in Africa, then we can all meet for a world championship on the big stage where nobody has any advantage, same-game advantage
Advantage.
over any
yeah,
Mhm.
over any other person except your
yeah.
skill and your expertise. So
Yep.
I think the GF model has opened up something that the publishers can look at to say, okay, we can have regional qualifiers that then brings everyone to the same table to play
Yes.
for the world championships. And I think that can be adopted going forward.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
This is a model we think that will work. Of course, we can never fly 200, 300 countries to one spot. That's going to cost too much, and also uh, there's just too much planning to make that happen. Regional qualifiers could be held online, and then the regional champions or the regional representatives
Representatives,
would
yes,
represent that region and their country for
Mhm.
offline finals where we
yes,
maybe we will see the top 16 teams or the top 32 teams
get to
compete, and then they will all compete on the same equipment, same
same
internet,
everything,
same
yeah,
venue. Then that I think is the we think is the most fair and transparent way of running a world championship.
true, true.
Yeah.
Mm, okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. So Shayo, you are a stakeholder in African esports, and you are a member of the Global Esports Federation. How can Africa as a community or as a region key into what the Global Esports Federation is doing?
Um, I'd say from being being enlightened about the programs. So, for example, nobody knew that the World Connected Series was coming until we made the push to GEF to allow us to be official presenting partners, and we appreciate them for allowing us to do that. And we opened this up. You know the challenges we faced in getting teams to sign up from most of the
Mm.
countries. Even some of the countries where we expected a large number, they had their internal issues that didn't allow teams sign up. Unfortunately, I can't name the countries on the platform, so I won't
You
name
don't want
some of
Kevin to
them.
stroke them out.
Exactly. So Kelvin doesn't notice. Oh, there are troublesome people in these countries. But the truth is, we had people like that who had internal wranglings that didn't allow them have a good number, and we felt that we could have knocked up about 120 entries if some of the
Right.
people we reached out to actually came on board and accepted everything we did. And it was a very seamless process. It was a very transparent and open process. Nigeria did highest entry with 32, not because we are the Lagos Sports Forum, but it was because the community there was one and they all came out in one massive force to seize this opportunity. So for every other person in Africa, definitely there are lots of programs that the GF will be doing from next year. We are positioning ourselves to serve as conduit to bring it on board. And of course, there's Tommy, there's Tyron, who are also board members who we believe will also be
Yes.
adding so many things from the board level and from the commission level, from education to, like Kelvin mentioned, the publishers level, so many other commissions, marketing and all that. People can actually get opportunities that will be put on the table. But the truth is, if opportunities are there and you don't seize them, then it is not the GEF's fault. It will be your own fault for not taking them up
Mhm.
and seizing them. So it is down to the people to accept most of the things the GF will be bringing to the continent. And I believe that if taken, then we're definitely due for a big acceleration of growth in Africa.
Okay, thank you very much, Shayo.
Absolutely.
So, Kelvin, education is a huge part of esports, and I know Shayo has been one of the frontliners for it. That there has to be that education for someone who is not just the director of esports, but someone who have been in the space for almost 20 years or 20 plus years. How do you think education or reorientation, affects esports athletes or people who are into gaming and those who want to go into gaming?
I think I think if you ask me all these, I think the one point that I will sum up is that we have a lot of youths that aspire to be pro gamers, and they go on Twitch and they look at their heroes win championships, and have a lot of following, and are playing very well, and they want to and they want to do that. They want to follow that journey. Um, but what they do not have is that they think that staying at home and playing 8 hours, 10 hours a day would um, is the only way to become a professional gamer without looking at or actually they are not educated in that aspect that they have to live a life of a professional athlete. That means managing their rest, managing nutrition, having some physical activities. These are things like to keep their body fit, resting their eyes. So these are some of the things that they right now do not have, and also that they have not experienced playing at a very, very high level world stage where there is pressure from the crowds, pressure to win. The stake is very high. Some of them might not be able to handle it mentally. So these are the some of the things that we think would help uh, the semi-professional go to the next level, which is what we call we have a term we call it sports science. So these are sports science. They do not have that part of thing. And when their parents or teachers or the schools look at the actual life of a professional athlete, they will realize that this is not just playing games, staying at
Mm-hmm.
home and playing games. And there's a little bit more professionalism in the training and the honing of your skills, and also conditioning your body to play at that high performance level. I think this is one thing that a lot of young gamers uh, do not know, and it's very important for us to teach them things like that. The second part is that even if you try to be a pro gamer and you did not succeed, it doesn't mean that it's the end of your esports career, because outside of being an athlete, there's so many things you can do. For example, you can be like the Afro gamer, right? You can do a podcast, right? And you can
Exactly.
do production, and you can do esports marketing and events management and things like this. There's so many things that can keep you within the ecosystem, and unfortunately, there's not enough um, education or information online to teach them something like that. So that's why education institutes should look at some of these syllabus and training curriculum. We ourselves would probably work out something and release something in the future as well.
Okay, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you very much, thank you very much for that. Part of the whole education process is knowing that esports goes beyond just playing, the playing of the games.
Yes.
And I'm happy
Yes.
you did mention that, because for some reason I think it's a misconception that the continent has, majority of the continent has. So it's nice that you mentioned that. So we're rounding up 2020. GAF is going to be one. What should Africa now as a region expect from the Global Esports Federation for 2021?
So 2021 will be a new goals will be set. We're hoping that uh, the the pandemic slow down a little bit and opens up more opportunities for us to do physical events. We are looking to hold our World Championship at the end of next year, December 2021. Hoping that all the COVID laws and everything, relax a little bit so that we can actually manage to organize it. We are also talking to a couple of cities to look at some of our or we call it special events, right? Where we will
Okay.
hold with our game company partners. This is what we are doing now, and next year we also will roll out. We actually just announced it um, a week ago. We also roll out the Performance Plus initiative, where we will actually go into what I just mentioned, sports science, and things, initiatives to train or to help the athlete improve their skills through learning how to manage their body, conditioning their mind. Yeah. So
Okay.
we hope to have all these programs roll out to all our member federations.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So Shayo, over to you again. You are, I keep repeating, a member. How can, with everything Kevin has said, the programs, how can the gaming community now, the youth who are the gamers, key into all this? I know you've mentioned previously that the programs also, but now I think it's best you break it down. How can they, key into everything Kevin has said?
Okay, so first of all, we have a rallying point already, which we did with this World Connected series. The only thing we'll do now is, because this rallying point is the Call of Duty Mobile, what we would probably just do as the Lagos Esports Forum, and we're hoping to bring on board the six other members from Africa, and I'm sure there are other peoples that the GF would also be bringing into the fold, is to actually have a rallying point for Africa, and that's something I was going to talk about at the General Assembly, but let me just chip it in here now so that Kelvin can note it. Is that Africa needs a rallying point, so it doesn't sound like it's the Lagos Esports Forum that's pushing this. It's we want it to be an African voice on the GEF platform. So if Africa has a rallying point, then it will be a good way for us to build this. Look at what the guys are in the Central Central America did, CEFA. They came up with the CEFA, the alliance, which they're using to push the agenda of that region. And it's
Mm.
good to see. I was with Yaki a few days ago, and fantastic things he was talking about. So that's the kind of rallying points we need in Africa, also on the GEF front. So we would expand, like I said, we'll reach out to other members and expand the community beyond just Call of Duty. We want to expand it to all gamers now so that we can have everyone's voice drop and we can now take it back and say, well, these are the things we feel is necessary and essential for the growth of esports in Africa in relation to the programs that would have been laid down by the GEF. So everyone should get ready for that. Of course, there'll be communications on our social media platforms and some other places where we put up our press releases. It's down to the people to tap into whatever we put out there and say that it's for the advantage of the ecosystem in Africa.
Okay, thank you. There's a question for Kelvin. Let me go
Mm.
ahead and put that up. Excuse me. So Lamtulio said, how is the GF planning to bring organizations like Singtel and institutions like NUS into the ecosystem?
Right. Thanks for that question. Very interesting question, and he brought up two Singaporean organizations. So, um, um, companies like Singtel we will love to work with them. In not just being the commercial front, but we also have programs that would help um, uh, promote their brand and their products to the global um, community. And education institutes, we actually have an affiliate membership for education institutes, and we are actually quite a bit of the education institutes, they are professors and stuff. They actually are also invited to join our education commission and to help with research and to help with education topics around esports. There is actually quite a big discussion already with some of the officers in NUS. So yeah, we do work with uh, universities like NUS, and in fact, um, UNISA, University of South Africa, is actually an affiliate member of GF as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So that's all we have, but I just have an interesting question for Kelvin.
Yep.
How did you get into gaming and esports?
How do I get in? um, Back then, 20 years ago, there's no such word as esports, and nobody made money from esports. It was just a passion. We happened to chance upon this game. My first esports game was Unreal Tournament, which is actually made by Epic Games, and that was where I found some friends online, and we formed a community. And some of the cyber cafes starts to have competitions around Unreal Tournament. So that's where competing via video game started. And from there, things tournaments gets bigger and bigger, and then we participated a lot, and we actually built a big team all around esports back then. Yeah, so that was then, and since then until now, the passion has not died. I still try to play a bit of games, even though I'm very busy, and but mostly on the phone. And it's great to see this in these 20 years. Uh, the journey esports has taken from being an underground kind of activity to now being on the big stage where the prize money can compete with most of the major sporting events. And I think there's still further to go. I think if I have another 20 years in my life, I will of course want to see the entire journey through.
That would be
Yeah,
one. That would be wonderful.
yeah.
So Kelvin and Shayo, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. It was really interesting. It was insightful, and we look forward to 2021 with the Global Esports Federation to see everything they have to they're playing their part to develop African esports. So we look forward to that. I know there was a question about how can someone work with the Afro Gamer. So you can connect with us on the Afro Gamer on Instagram, the Afro Gamer underscore on Twitter, and the official Afro Gamer on Facebook. You can also check out our website www.theafrogamer.com. And once the live feed is over, we also have the audio podcast for those who like to, just relax and listen. And you can see all we have on the Anchor FM, we have on Spotify, we have on Apple, Google, whichever platform you use, we do have all that available for you. And once again, thank you for watching the Afro Gamer podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us, and hopefully we will see you next time. To our guests, once again, thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
thank you for
you.
having